It's the end of the week, and so it's time to take out the trash. Okay, so I've got me and Garbagey and Brett. And Brett, let's start with you. Who is your garbage person of the week?
I have two garbage people, but it's okay because it's more of a two-headed monster of garbageness. So here is Laura Ingraham and Ben Shapiro on Fox talking about how crazy Rachel Maddow has gone. We'll explain exactly why, but I also picked this because the word garbage is in it, so take a look.
One of the left's biggest media stars is reading the current situation as follows.
President now saying insistently that the election will not be decided by the voters, that he expects the Supreme Court, to which he is trying to appoint a new justice right before the election, he expects that it will be the Supreme Court which handles the question of who the next president is. And he expects that the conservative majority will throw out the ballots, and then we won't have to worry about any transition of power.
Ben, the hyperbole notwithstanding, this is pretty standard now on the left.
It is the manufactured garbage by which they have been saying for months that this election is going to be stolen by Trump, that it's going to be a coup. You had John Podesta gaming out what it would look like if Biden didn't accept a loss. Hillary Clinton has openly said there are no circumstances under which Biden should accept a loss. I mean, hell, they had Stacey Abrams trotted out as governor of Georgia at the DNC. And then they have the temerity to turn around and say that Trump is the threat to the institutions, that it's Trump who's going to generate some sort of constitutional crisis. I think it's pretty clear that Democrats are making way for an awful lot of chaos in the aftermath of this election.
Ben, thank you so much tonight.
Thank you for saying that thing that whoever was gonna be here was gonna say that exact same thing. Thank you for being that cog, that squeaky wheel.
I do want to say that Marissa and Sophie in the and Norma, we were kind of, after I sent that in, we're like, when he moves, it's like, and this isn't my observation, it is like when you take a chicken and you move its body, but its head stays in the same place. He's like,
it's like his head is on like a dolly, like it's like perfectly like stabilized. Okay,
it's like the queen walking downstairs. She like doesn't bounce. That's weird. They teach them. All right, so that's one part of it. So, but the specific thing that they call manufactured garbage is the part of Rachel Maddow's presentation that happens before she goes and analyzes stuff. It is just her summarizing what the president has said and done in the past, basically saying that he doesn't want people to vote. He wants to get rid of the ballots that they're sending out to people because it's coronavirus and they want to keep people safe. And then third, that he wants a Supreme Court justice to essentially side with him at the end of the day in a packed court from the Republicans, and then and essentially say that no, he has been okaying him to steal the election. Those are the three things that they're saying are manufactured garbage, but they're obviously not. Please take a look.
They had things, levels of voting that if you ever agreed to it, you'd never have a Republican elected in this country again.
Do you commit to making sure that there's a peaceful transfer of power?
We want to get rid of the ballots, and we'll have a very peaceful. There won't be a transfer, frankly. There'll be a continuation.
So you're going to need 9 justices up there. I think it's going to be very important because what they're doing is a hoax with the ballots. They're sending out tens of millions of ballots, unsolicited, not where they're being asked, but unsolicited. And that's a hoax. And you're going to need to have 9 justices. So,
but yeah, no, you're right. It's them saying they're crazy to cite what Trump is saying every day. I mean, like you can say he's not serious or it won't happen, but he's definitely saying it. And we're responding to specific quotes from him. And the thing that makes it even more dishonest is that you have Laura Ingraham and Ben Shapiro there saying that they're being ridiculous to imply that this will be anything other than a totally standard normal election. But both of them, when and if, and I'll say when Donald Trump does every one of the things we've been predicting he'll do, first of all, they want it and they will be defending it. If he says we're not taking the mail-in ballots, it's just day of, both of them are gonna do monologues about how that's exactly what it needs to be. So they get to have their, fascism and eat it too. They get to say how crazy they are to imply that the court's gonna decide, and then someday they're going to be calling for the courts to decide. Let's make a note of me saying this right now, because we can play it. It'll be a nice little footnote in the history of American democracy as we descend into fascism. But they're 100% gonna do that, and nobody doubts it.
Yeah, so, and I take, it's strange to say, I take Ben Shapiro's point. Like, I wouldn't want to accept a corrupt vote. That's not crazy to say. I wouldn't want to accept a BS vote. Unfortunately, the way they're saying that this vote is BS is itself a lie. They're trying to manufacture all this doubt, saying that that the vote, that there's going to be large scale fraud in these votes, and that's just not the case. In the last 20 years, it's like 0.00006% proven fraud. The big story that they're passing around today is that, there was a big trove of military votes that were thrown away, and every single one of them was a Trump vote. There were 9 votes that they found. There's 9 votes, and they had to rephrase and say actually only 7 of them were. And Trump is trying to repeat this lie over and over again, and it's all BS. Yeah,
100%. 100%. And the thing is, look, if you are actually concerned about fraud in mail-in voting, or it taking too long, or there being uncertainty, or any of these things, like most of those concerns, though fake, could be mitigated by actually providing the funding necessary to make this thing work. And they're not doing that because they don't care. It's not that they have these concerns, it's that they want to say that they have these concerns, because saying it is convenient if it sets up stealing the election.
And also, by his own definition, then we should never accept a single vote from the red state of Utah, because that's what they do. Like, they send them out.
Exactly, or the military abroad, or Trump, or all of his people who've done this exact same sort of voting. 100%, 100% garbage.
And just to reinforce that what's her name, that Laura Ingraham is indeed garbage. We have a tweet of the thing we talked about earlier in the show, where she basically asked, "Who's paying for these U-Haul vans?" I love this so much. It's like I've done some investigation myself, and I've narrowed it down to someone who is above the age of 25, has a valid driver's license, and a working credit card. So obviously Soros.
Some people go to more than one protest. Some people have been protesting for months. They don't necessarily make their signs for each new protest. That does not necessarily mean that a Jewish billionaire in the shadows is taking over democracy, as they keep wanting to say.
But like, my mom talked to our neighbor that she has, who turns off Tucker Carlson when my mom goes there for dinner, and in their small community with no COVID. But essentially, they go in and she turns it off because she's ashamed. She's ashamed that she watches it, but she says, with Biden, it's just going to be him, socialism, and Sarloos. And couldn't even say Soros right when asked to explain it.
I wasn't sure what
Sarloos is a vintner in Central California, but like,
they're apparently screwed too.
They get it wrong. And I, from what I unfortunately can see, as you're a garbage person, like, does it matter? What do they do when confronted? They do this weird thing all the time that I just hope they take a minute and listen to us as we try to find some common ground, which should just be like accepting fact.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.